It was meant to be a fluffy run-of-the-mill morning show cross-promotional pit stop on the long road towards Taylor Swift's inexorably awaited Eras tour launch. Just another casual whistle stop where America's reigning millennial pop princess could dish some innocuous interview banter hyping her latest conveniently synergized multi-platform content hurricane spanning albums, streaming specials, merchandise, and palatially upholstered VIP escape rooms. That relatively benign press junket presumption evaporated within mere opening salvos once the songstress icon opened her customary ruby-red choreographed mouth. Because rather than simply fading Swifties worldwide with cloying platitudes about cravings for future artistic explorations and personal gratitudes ad nauseum, Taylor instead delivered an utterly unexpected lacerating fusillade directly targeting her erstwhile transatlantic aristocratic peakmates. And by the time her seething roast session reached its venom-slathered climax, the entire Duchess of Sussex's reputational equity looked as credibly intact as a gaggle of shattered Hummel figurines. You mean the ones constantly squandering every ounce of credibility and public trust on vainglorious stunts chasing empty wokesphere proxy validation from coastal podcasters and Brooklyn barista consorts who'll casually forget Harry and Meghan even exist once their 15 minutes combusts into vapors? The Midwestern Sarapa began when goaded for gossipy thoughts about the wayward royals' latest cringeworthy foibles. Yeah, not surprised those two wannabe edgy rebrands keep on embarrassing themselves for the sake of clingy controversy cred and thirst traps because they're fundamentally much sadder. Drawing a long, unmistakable Tiskanji sigh almost palpable in its dripping condescension, Swift pivoted for a split second as if momentarily contemplating sparing her targets with some vague magnanimity. But the instant passed in favor of indulging her rumored deep-seated scorn even more thoroughly after deflecting an uncomfortably long pause by taking another fortifying pull from her omnipresent Starbucks #plant cup before joylessly marmalizing that measly Montecito grifting duality once more. Look. Let's be real here for a sec, okay? Taylor continued, ostensibly delivering a casual self-censor even as her signature vulpine gaze conveyed the opposite of rhetorical restraint. None of us are fooled by these two grifters' patently clout-chasing stunts anymore. Like, do they honestly expect us all still playing into their craven hands by acting shocked, or indignant, or anything other than just coldly bemused by them constantly trying to shiv themselves into cultural conversations they otherwise wouldn't warrant a second thirst trap engagement from? Realizing the pregnant portent belied by that too-studied casualness of effect, the squirming broadcast team's hurried efforts to defuse these verbal bombshells proved as ineffectual as a saline drip against a Category 5 superstorm surge. Because with a quick sidelong glance telegraphing ulterior motives, Swift flashed that patented smirk she reserves for slyly twisting serrated knife bayonets into any frenemy still harboring delusions about friendship. Then fired another searing barrage of jaded takedowns destined to become memed, gifed and screen-recorded by Swifties worldwide. Trust me, I've witnessed their particular brand of thirstiness more times than any of us can count by now, Taylor interjected after receiving some unspoken cue from the increasingly squirming production crew undoubtedly praying for a quick pivot to literally any other verbal tangent. And at this point Meghan and Harry have become lower than horses' teeth impersonating edgy iconoclasm for likes and shares, because all that plucky, humanizing the crown by reframing it through inspiring lived truths patter instantly curdled into the stalest performance art that even their most sycophantic fans find cringy to propagate let alone stream. With condescending inflections now so caustic they nearly singed the airwaves, the songwriting superstar turned towards her swiftly silencing interlocutors and evinced disdain redolent of a bored mean girl captain rhetorically soiling some subtwerp desperately seeking her approval. All while gripping her tumbler 2 knuckles past pure comfort territory, a signature Swift mannerism communicating premeditated malice whenever evoking feckless adversaries ill-equipped for her crosshairs. See, you can spot the wannabe vibes wafting off these two from a gajillion miles away, Taylor resumed with gleaming pearly smirks positively radiating sadistic delight at dismantling such thinly credentialed controversy peddlers. Like just the absolute temerity to constantly keep acting like some edgy underdog undercutting crusty power structures when your entire being's literally manifested by the highest echelons of inherited privilege and British ruling caste supremacy? It's beyond pathetic or delusional even, their whole shtick is nothing but performative artifice from the self-serious get-go. Whether fearing the prospect of any further detonations or reacting to incoming emergency signals from network control centers overwhelmed by hate-watching engagement metrics, the interview crew made a tactical decision to extricate themselves from the blast radius as swiftly and smoothly as possible. But before seating the celebrity circus red-carpeted tent entirely, Taylor couldn't resist one final blistering torrent of abuse, deflating any potential Meghan or Harry still retained dominion over their own narratives. Oh, I'm sure those two malcontent renegades absolutely thrilled knowing their latest Hail Mary dumpster fire for relevance has at least captivated America's biggest pop icon with its scintillating pathos. Totes Giles, they keep trying to out-cringe even the most visceral car crash virality addicts with their bottomless deference toward the same gilded socio-economic strata codifying their entire human existences to begin with. Swift howled with undisguised contempt, stripping away any semblance of performative neutrality as technicians and producers began sheepishly ushering their mercurial A-lister guest towards another cookie-cutter photo op. Literally the only remotely redeeming component to Meghan and Harry's whole contrived pity party is just being gobsmacked spectacles of celebrities becoming notoriously unwatchable through sheer banality. Iconic cringe royals deigning themselves too tragically relatable and unwittingly role-modeling the absolute pinnacle of normie-wave desperation for the masses' parasocial feeding frenzy. This is my stunted, who even relates anymore, world now bitches, and they're just living through it. Though emergency broadcast deletion codes swiftly expunged Swift's evisceration from unsuspecting East Coast breakfast hour audiences, the discarded footage's seismic shockwaves rippled out metastatically in an unstoppably viral roar. Within mere hours, the entire blogosphere universe was already gorging over what amounted to Taylor's opening declaration of a full-fledged blood vendetta against the deposed British royalty's ambitions, complete with rumor mills churning over what personally piquant grievance could have sparked such vehement rhetorical butchery. And though Meghan and Harry's bruised camp has yet to officially respond through proxies as of this writing, it's a safe assumption this wildly unprovoked PR massacre won't be going unaddressed anytime soon. One fact remained undisputed no matter the eventual spin deployed against Swift's acidulous lyrical disembowelment of the Sussexes, reputation management-wise. The one-time crown jewels of American celebrity activism now found themselves little more than discarded scions ambling amongst the rubble of Taylor's once glittering realm. A cruel cosmic irony unquestionably evoking her most fatalistic cringe-wave musings on fame's futility in hollow existential bargains, really. The former royals' desperate searches for reinvention and sustaining relevance lay dashed by the merciless harbinger perhaps best equipped to weaponize those mortal impulses. Their grandiose self-mythologizing about overcoming gilded cage adversities didn't just dissolve into nothingness with those acidic dismissals. Swift irrevocably framed their entire raison d'etre as glib cosplay appropriating the iconoclasm she embodies in multitudes more legitimately. Ultimately, that colossal magnitude.